Thanks for that, Jonathan. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I feel incredibly grateful to be here today, premiering the film here at this beautiful cinema. So thank you all for coming. Yeah, I mean, I'll keep it as brief as possible. I think the film should speak for itself. But one thing I will say is that there's a kind of novelty to this, and some people might not know this, but pretty much the entirety of the film takes place in this very screen. So it makes it a little bit different to sort of your usual screen. And if we screened it at another cinema, obviously it'd be great. But the fact that you guys are sitting right where most of the scenes were filmed, makes it sort of novel and hopefully a unique viewing experience as well. So yeah, I'm just really excited for people to finally see it. You know, I wrote this film in November, and then we shot it in early February. So the fact that it's finally happening, people are going to watch the movie, it's super, super exciting. So thank you all so much for coming. I feel incredibly grateful. Thank you.
So we talked about getting it right for local people as well, didn't we? Tell me the story about. Yeah, I said there's one thing you mustn't mess up, and that is don't get the Keswick bit wrong. Otherwise, this audience will be all over you.
Yeah, well, obviously I'm not originally from Keswick, so I'm really glad you mentioned this. But one of the things Jonathan said early on, he was like, you know, in regards to like the geography of Keswick, do not mess it up. Like, when you show her walk into the cinema at the beginning, if she walks down the wrong street coming to the cinema, like, people will probably walk out. They'll be like, you know what I mean? So I made sure, I was like, right, so you'd start off the theatre by the lake, and you go through the tunnel, and you probably walk up this street. So yeah, you know, we followed Jonathan's guidelines quite well.
Well, we talked about Supernova, didn't we? I think everybody locally remembers Supernova, where like a bigger budget film, and Stanley Tucci and Colin Firth, and 1 minute they're driving up the street outside, and then the next second they're going in the other direction, and everybody jumped. It's ridiculous. So yeah, so well done for continuity. That's really great. What's it like kind of getting parts these days? It's hard to get parts, isn't it, in film?
Yeah, it is difficult. I feel, obviously Joe kind of messaged me for this one, which I was really grateful about, but I think it's more about what the part is about. So if the part is meaningful and you feel you can connect to the characters and sort of their situation and what's happening around that, I feel like obviously that's why I was really happy to get the part in this one, because there was a lot I could play with this one. But yeah, it is difficult these days getting parts. Yeah. It depends. It's situational.
So I think in the documentary we see just how hard it is to make a film, how much work goes into it, and how much time you guys spent. You were here for a week, I think, filming?
4 days.
4 days, wasn't it? Yeah. What about you guys? What did you want to get out of the film? And I know that you are the assistant, to get the technical term, assistant director and producers. But are you both the assistant director and both the producers, or how does it work?
I suppose so.
Well, like, I was the first AD and Jordan here was the second AD, but we were both producers.
Right.
For the producers side of things, we were there pretty much from like very early development. Joe sent us a script, asked for feedback, and we gave like quite honest feedback. I think that's the main thing about being a producer, is you've got to be honest, because you really need to make sure that things are as right as they can be. So you know, we were there pretty much from start to finish. We've been there through production all the way to the edit as well. We're giving like feedback on the edit, and then from the AD side of things, it was more Joe needs to be up there directing, talking to the actors, and we didn't need him to worry about what was going on with the camera and like what's going on behind the camera. So like we were sorting out the lights, we were sorting out like how the dolly tracks and all sorts of stuff. Like Jordan here, then you want to talk about your storyboards, that sort of thing.
So I mean, before the film even like started, we come up with the idea. We sat in Wetherspoons around the corner, and the three of us sat down for 3 hours, something along those lines, and we worked out exactly what we wanted. And I went home and spent, I don't know, 2 weeks creating this lovely storyboard for Joe to follow. You know, we talked about it the entire time, what shots he wanted, exactly how he wanted it. And we get to filming, all of a sudden, I kind of want to change that a little bit. I just want to tweak it just a little bit. So, keeping on Joe's back to make sure that we stick to the vision that we originally came up with is really difficult, because he's such a creative mind. It's like his mind's going a mile a minute constantly. You know, he's always coming up with new ideas, so it's really hard to keep him on track for what he wants to do. So that was my job. My job was keeping him on track, basically.
Yeah, I just want to say as well, There weren't just storyboards, like your regular storyboards. You need more credit than this. So Jordan studied 3D animation at Teesside University, and he's a filmmaker himself. He made a short film. It's like a 3D animated film. It's really, really good. And Jordan used the animation software he literally recreated this whole screen in the 3D animation software, and then like took screenshots of all the different shots using camera lenses within the software. So it was like the best storyboards ever. And I mean, he's exposed me now. We didn't follow it fully, unfortunately, but you know, they were great to look at, but I didn't follow them, obviously. But no, I think, you know, we did follow them, you know, like maybe 80%, and then I think sometimes it's quite nice when you get on a location, you're like, actually, let's try something else, you know what I mean? And I think I got on Jordan's now, sorry. Yeah, another thing I have to say this really quickly, you know, I really genuinely mean this, and I have to say this, and I've said this to them both, obviously. This film is so much better because of you two, and I really do mean that. Like, you know, from the original script that I had was so different to what we ended up filming. And, you know, like to say, they had so much input from pre-production all the way to post-production. And I'm genuinely so grateful. And yeah, you know, like John was saying, he was on my back. And it's the first time I've ever not just controlled everything on a film. And I was like, I really learned to be like, all right, it's actually quite nice to just let other people, you know, do things and take the weight off. And I think the film is so much better because of you two. So yeah, I really appreciate it.
So what's it like making a film that hasn't got your brother in it? In the plastic pistol.
What, Josh?
Well, Josh.
Well, there's still time. Like, I mean, I'm gonna throw this out there. He wants to act. He does want to act. He said it. And so it's only a matter of time before he finally decides he wants to act, and you know.
He does, Joyce just told me outside.
All right, well.
I'm sure he needs to be in the next film.
Yeah, I mean, look
I
at him.
think those early ones, they were just preparation for a film.
Exactly.
That looks like a gangster film in the making.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the looks for it, hasn't he? So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, he's, you know, I'm sure he will be in future films, 100%.
I understand there's some questions from the audience. So, Peter's downstairs with a roving microphone. Graham is upstairs, although I can't see him with a roving microphone. Oh, yes, he is. Yeah, there he is. So, anybody want to ask these guys this group of filmmakers anything? Yeah, there's one down here. Yeah, sorry, Gav, should be spotted. Yeah.
Hi.
Hang on, go downstairs first and then upstairs.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask how easy or difficult you find it to do networking with other professionals in your industry, because it's such an organic process, the industry that you're in, and you sort of feed off each other, but at the same time, if you can't really do the networking, it's difficult to make the progress. And I'm just interested to know how easy that is for you these days.
Thanks for that question. It's a really good question. It's you know, it's not easy. That's the truth for me anyway. Personally, I think, you know, you have to sort of, in this industry, there's a lot of nepotism. A lot of people come from the film industry and have family in the film industry, so that obviously helps. And then if they don't have that, they tend to usually have some money, or at least the family does, and it can sort of, you know, they pay for an agent, and the agent looks for jobs for them, or they get invited to these cool events where they can meet people. And it's not like a woe is me moment, because I think I'm using that to my benefit. I'm creating my own opportunities like this one, so I don't really mind. But you know, I think for me it's more about realizing using sort of my limits to my advantage in a way, and just like writing my own stuff, creating my own stuff, and then hopefully the connections will come along the way. That's sort of the goal for me. But you know, it would be nice for some mysterious figure to appear and be like, oh, you know, let's go make a great movie or whatever. But for now, yeah, it is difficult, and I'm trying my best really. I'm doing everything I can to make things still, and you know, something's working because there's people here watching this, you know, today. So I'm really grateful. I don't know if you want to talk about from an acting perspective. That may be quite interesting.
Well, I was just going to say quickly before that, like the really interesting thing about you is that you keep it close to home. So like you use your friends, you use your family, you know, it's sort of a really endearing sort of quality that you have is, you know, you could go out there, you could pay actors, you could do whatever, but instead you decide, I'm going to use the people that I know, and I'm going to get them involved in what I love. And I think that's just really interesting. And, yeah, really cool.
Yeah, I think from an acting perspective, like, connections are hard anyway. I think mainly you have to be proactive and keep like finding your own work and making your own things and making your own connections, going out as much as you can to be proactive in projects, because if you don't have any connections then you're not going to make any. But even doing things like this, you're making more connections, and say like even like 5 years down the line we meet again and we in a bigger film, like it's just things like that. So I think definitely keeping proactive and just trying to keep busy in whatever work you're doing in any sense is definitely good in making any connections.
There is a bit of industry support, so I've been nudging you to go on that script writing thing that Film Hub North are doing. So there is some industry support for some of the talent theatres involved, but there's not a lot. I'd say you have to be really tenacious, don't you? All of you. There's a question upstairs.
My question was taken.
Ah,
It's been answered.
excellent.
Thank you.
Ewan.
If you had a unlimited budget, like I don't know, Mission Impossible
It wouldn't work for
style,
us.
like what would you have changed or done differently?
I mean, that's an interesting question. If I had an unlimited budget, I mean, that would probably be to my detriment, to be honest, because I'd make something that was just too over the top. But yeah, I think, you know, a spin on that question, I'm not sure what movie I'd make. It'd probably be a sci-fi movie. I love sci-fi, probably some sort of sci-fi horror combination. Because, you know, I love like practical effects and, you know, building sets and stuff like that. Like that's a dream I would love to do. So I'd probably use it to that degree. But, you know, to spin your question another way, like I think like it's very generic, but like I'd love to direct like a Star Wars project one day. Or is that your question? Yeah, or like, you know, big Spider-Man fan as well. But I think that they're like two dream projects in like maybe in like 40 years, we'll see. But yeah, I think if I had an unlimited budget, at this point I don't think I'm ready to have an unlimited budget. I think I'd make something that's like terrible. So yeah, but thank you.
Any others?
Yeah,
upstairs.
It's been excellent, really has. Tonight's your premiere. Where else is Beyond the Eye going to be shown? And is it going to be shown along with the documentary?
I don't think it'll be shown alongside the documentary, which is an interesting point, to be fair. I've never really considered that. Something that maybe you could do it as like a package. Yeah, I've never thought about that. But yeah, literally, I mean, the film was actually only finished about 3-4 days ago. Like it literally like was like. Really
I was asking to see it all week, and I got to see it this morning at 7:30.
So, although it might look like I edited it in 2 days, I didn't. It took months. But yeah, you know, what was the question again?
Where's it going to see it?
Oh yeah, sorry. So yeah, we've ended it in a bunch of film festivals. So you know, going up to September, like all throughout the summer, there's a lot of horror film festivals we submitted to. There's like a Northwest one in Cumbria that we submitted to, and then we're going to submit to more as well. More like sort of just general film festivals and see what happens with it. Really, just you know.
I mean, the Northwest Film Festival's really interesting because this is the first year that it's running. So, you know, we've entered film festivals before with separate films and whatnot, and you know, sometimes you get lucky and sometimes people put really good stuff on there that makes you feel embarrassed. So, you know, we're hoping that, you know, more people can see it and hopefully get more connections. And
that was a nice way of saying it. The realistic version is we just got rejected from film festivals. But yeah, like I'm not obviously saying this is like amazing or anything, but I think I do think it's like the best thing I've done, and you know, especially with horror film festivals where it's specifically for horror, I think it, you know, hopefully it do well with the unique location and things like that. So yeah.
Good. Any others before we wrap up? One in the middle here, Peter, back row middle. Thanks.
What's the creepiest experience you've had in this cinema working here?
Well, one morning I walked in and Jonathan was just stood there in the corner. It was terrifying. And I know John who works here, but genuinely believes that it's haunted. Like he's. I mean, I think John's seen some stuff apparently, but you have to ask John about that.
I think there's an opportunity for some staff pranks. Especially on Karen, who was terrified to see your film because of what it might do to her.
Yeah, I think it's changed our perception of working here, but we still have the costume for the entity, so I'll get Nathan to get back into it one day and we'll...
we need to get a cardboard cutout and put it up there and then just like... Excellent. Right, no more questions? Oh, one more.
I can talk about
Yes, you're the best uncle in the world.
Yes, sir.
What's your next movie going to be? Is it going to follow the horror genre? And will it be longer than a short film?
It won't be longer than a short film, unfortunately. I'd love that, but just don't have the means or the budget to do that. But the next film, what I will say about it, I mean, we've spoke about quite a few, so we've got quite a lot that we'd like to do. But there's one script that's written, and it's like a lake house thriller. And obviously there's plenty of lake houses in the Lake District, so hopefully we could do it here. But yeah, I've got a lake house thriller written that I would love to make, and it'd probably be like a little bit longer than this one. But yeah, I mean they're yet to read the script, so you know they might read it and be like, no, we're not doing this, it's terrible. But yeah, we'll see. But that's the thing that's written anyway.
I mean, we want to branch out a little bit as well, so we're like thinking about other things like comedy and little other things as well. So hopefully.
I think you do quite well. I think you posted it. I think you do good comedy. If you bring it together, I think you do good comedy.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, it was more like a mockumentary idea we had for something, but yeah, like we'll see.
Good. Let me wrap up. So I want to thank these guys because this is a great industry to work in, whichever part of it you work in. And we have, as I said at the beginning, we happen to work at the very end of it, at the cinema part. It's a really fun industry. So giving us the insight of what it's like at the other end, producing stuff, was super interesting. Watching you guys making the film during the week, super interesting. And I think hats off to you because you are really going for it. You're all very talented and you're very dedicated and you're very committed to this. So like seriously well done.
Thank you so much. I need to say something then, sorry. I know everyone's probably sick to death of me now. I should start watching the documentary and keep talking, but you know, I don't want to sound sycophantic, but I mean this. Like, I need to get out of the way. He's like, don't thank me. But you know, as you mentioned in the documentary, I asked Jonathan specifically, but I need to thank Jonathan and Graham. And from the get-go, they were so supportive, as I said in the documentary. They're the reason I'm sitting up here now. They're the reason that the film exists. So, you know, it's a massive thing. And also the BBC thing, people might think I contacted them. I didn't. It was Jonathan who somehow, I think they were here filming something to do with Bridget Jones. He told them all about the film and everything. So all of this whole thing tonight, the whole film, it's sort of like, you know, thank you to Jonathan and Graham especially.
Too many years.